Hey YouTube, hey Internet, never-ending student here. With my apologies, this video is not about my favorite subject, hobby and profession, electronics. It's about politics. Yeah, I'm sorry to bring more of that into your life. Specifically, politics here where I live in the United States. Things aren't going well here. ICE is as best as I can figure out at this point, literally committing acts of terrorism. I'm using the FBI's definition here. Domestic terrorism, violent criminal acts committed by individuals and/or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as those of politics, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. Yeah. We're in a strict first they came situation. First they came for people with brown skin. That's where we're at right now. We have historical lessons for this. It is important not to stay silent just because they're not coming for you. Because the more accurate statement is they're not coming for you yet. When a dictatorship seeks to exert military force domestically, and its hold is not ironclad, and it's kind of dipping its toes into the realm of nationally internalized violence, there is still very much the issue of keeping popularity with a sufficient amount of the populace. The classic way to do this, to introduce and normalize the use of state-authorized violence internally, is to pick a group that government thinks enough of the population will turn a blind eye to the abuses of, and other them. If you haven't heard that phrasing, to other them means to point at a group and say they are the enemy. They are why things are bad. They are doing wrong to us. One of the commonly repeated phrases was Tren de Aragua. We don't really have a lot of evidence that there's organized activity by that organization. I mean, are there some gang members? Probably. There's probably some gang members from any large gang somewhere in the US. But do you really believe there's like 10 million of them? I don't. So, the idea is to start out narrowly and say, that group of people right there, they're bad. They're rapists and murderers and insane people. They're criminals from prisons that have got emptied by nations that don't like us, ushered into the United States to hurt us in every imaginable way. And we're going to take this paramilitary group and punish them, get rid of them, make them go away. Make the problem go away. So first they came for the immigrants, and I did not speak up because I was not an immigrant. Again, we've seen that in history. The political right has a lot of favorite groups to hate, to other. Right now, they're concentrating on persecuting people who have brown skin and people who are from south of the United States border. It will not end with that. It is a tool to get us all to accept state violence being used internally to persecute, to give no access to rule of law, all while assuring enough of the population that we have to do this. It is a matter of national security. If we don't, they'll rape your women. They'll inject fentanyl into your babies. They'll do all these terrible things. But we can protect you as long as you make sure that we have enough power. So they're going around and brutalizing people. They're disappearing them off the streets. They're murdering them. We're building concentration camps. You might know about the alligator Alcatraz or alligator Auschwitz. The construction projects going on, there are so many more camps that have been built and are being built. Do you really think that they're only going to be used for people with brown skin? First they came for the immigrants, and I did not speak out because I was white. Next, they came for the gays, and I did not speak out because I was not gay. The LGBTQ community has been a favorite punching bag by the far right for a very long time. And it won't stop there. This is the progression of internalized state violence as a tool to support the rising dictatorship. At every turn, there is this very Russian tactic, or maybe I should clarify more like a Putin tactic. Push here, push there, push everywhere. Find out what you can get away with. Find out every little thing you can do that there's not enough pushback on, that you can make that the new normal. and then push more. Never stop. That's what we're seeing right now. So, now that I've shared my view of what I see going on, of the problem that I see, let's get to something more productive than just saying, holy crap, this is shitty, and move on to, all right, what do we do about this? How can we make this bad less bad? How can we fix it? There's a lot of people out there who are feeling hopeless, who are feeling powerless, seeing all this horrible shit go on and feeling like, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to stop that? Don't look at the whole thing and feel like you have to fix it all. Throw that mentality out. It's not helpful. The perfect is the enemy of the good. The perfect would be any variation of ICE stopping its brutalization of so many people. Would be ICE, not invading American cities as though they're a paramilitary operation occupying enemy territory. The perfect would be all of these concentration camps getting deconstructed and mothballed and not used anymore. You do not have to make the perfect happen. It is not your job to make the perfect happen. It is not your job to do the impossible. That is something beyond your individual capability. You don't have to do it all. But you can do something. And the second part of that, don't feel like there's no point because what you can do, you feel like that's not enough. So you're not doing a tiny little thing because you feel like you should do more. But in reality, that more that is your ideal of what you could do to affect change is something that you can't bring yourself to do. Don't feel guilty about that. That guilt, that feeling of, I just can't do it. That is an intentional effect. That is a desired effect to get you to do nothing. People say, your vote doesn't matter. Your voice doesn't matter. The people invested in making you believe that are the people who want you to believe it so that you don't exercise the power that you do have. You don't have to do something big. This is a lesson I recently learned that I can't help. If something feels beyond me, don't reach that far. Something is better than nothing. The perfect is the enemy of the good. There's a political candidate that I like a lot of her views about, Kat Abigail in Chicago. And I've been supporting her just by checking when she's streaming on YouTube, which is an awesome experiment for an aspiring politician to raise money instead of calling rich people and saying, hey, what do I need to twist and bend about myself to make you support my campaign? She's instead doing YouTube streaming, and it is absolutely working for fundraising. When I see her stream, I send in $5 by PayPal. And apparently the vast majority of the funds that she's raising for a campaign are stuff like that. Her average donation is like $32. So that's not much, but it's more than nothing. And she's beating out like almost all of her competitors in the race in terms of fundraising by getting people to donate $5 or $10. That's real. It's not a lot, and at the same time, it's infinitely more than nothing. It is a thing I can do, and I have done. Don't berate yourself for not doing something you feel you should be doing to affect change that you can't bring yourself to do. Look for what you can. Look for what you will, and do that. It doesn't matter if it's less than you want. It doesn't matter if it's just $5 to someone who hopefully will make things better, at least in their local area. Something is better than nothing. I have no idea if this will help even one person who watches this. If it will help convince even one person to find something they can do, no matter how little. But I think it's a reasonable chance. At least one person? And even if I don't get that, what have I lost? A couple hours of my time? Trying take after take and feeling like, no, that take sucked. Again, no, that take sucked. Oh, damn it. Take 5, 7, F. Yeah. This is something I can do, talking to you right now. It isn't much. It is more than nothing. We have over 300 million people in the United States. If a whole lot of us do just a little bit, that more than nothing, it adds up. By all means, if you can attend a protest, if you're willing to attend a protest, do that. A year ago, my view on the efficacy of such things was different than it is now. I have been incredibly impressed with the widespread discipline of protesters in terms of not giving this administration the excuse of and for violence that they are so obviously desiring. That's a big reason that ICE is going into places and just beating on people, pepper spraying protesters, shooting them with less lethals in the eye, kidnapping people, and every once in a while, killing them. They want violence to be reciprocated, or at least the administration does. I'm not so sure if the individual ICE officer on the street wants someone to pull a gun and shoot him. I'm pretty sure that individual person doesn't. The administration would love that. It would give them a wonderful excuse to say, look at this violence. Look at this mass of insurrectionists. We have to take control with the military. I have been extremely impressed with the discipline of protesters across the United States. I would not have thought that what I have seen in terms of that discipline was possible in the face of such provocation. And I have been impressed with the efficacy. And you might hear that and go like, efficacy? What do you mean protests have been effective? Look at the shit they're pulling. Look at what ICE is doing. What do you mean protests have been effective? When people, like in Portland, I believe, when people dressed up in costumes go play music and dance as protests outside of ICE facilities, and Kristi Noem tries to take footage of that and say, look at these violent, armed insurrectionists. It's ridiculous to point at those protesters in costumes and makeup playing music and dancing and telling ICE to go fuck themselves and trying to say, look at this violent cluster of heavily armed domestic terrorists. Those costumes, that singing and dancing, make those claims that they want to make, that they want people to believe, look fucking ridiculous. That is why you see protesters dressed up like that. That's why you see people in fucking furry costumes and inflatable dinosaur costumes and dancing and singing and playing music. It's not idiocy. That is legitimately a tactical decision to deny this administration any ability to point at them and say, look at those domestic terrorists. Don't believe your lying eyes. Those costumes and furry suits are actually tactical gear. And though you can't see it, every one of them was heavily armed. What is the phrase I'm looking for? Tactical absurdity. The use of looking absurd tactically to deny the enemy the ability to call you an enemy combatant, to deny the enemy, that's ICE and the administration, the ability to call them terrorists, violent insurrectionists. Because it's ridiculous. Because they make it so obviously clear that it's ridiculous. If you look around for who's going around in body armor, carrying long guns, and terrorizing people, you don't have to look far. That's ICE. So I digress. You are not powerless. You are not helpless. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to give up because what you feel like you should do is too much. It's better to do something, even if that something is small. You may have heard this before. Call your representatives. And you may shrug that off like, what, am I going to tell them something they don't already know? If I call my senator or congressperson and say, hey, ICE is out there literally killing people on the street. They're being racist, fascist thugs. And they're beating people. In case you didn't know, I, your constituent, don't like that. What are you going to do to stop that? Or what the fuck did I vote for you for? Politicians in power want to stay in power, to whatever extent that power gives them. So, it does matter, at least to some extent. Now, how much does one call matter? It's better to be one of many, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't call. Does it mean you have to spend your whole day, every day, 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, calling every politician that you can find the number for? No. No, it doesn't. You don't have to do that. If all you have the time for, the mental energy for, is to make one call, even leave one voicemail, something is better than nothing, something is more than nothing. So do that little something. If after that you feel that you have it in you for the amount of time that you can take away from life to call one more time, do that. If you don't, fine. Ah, my stupid cat. Come here. Come on. This is Floof. He's a very pretty boy. Oh, you little monster. Alright. So yeah. Don't be disheartened if you feel like you can't do enough to move the needle. Any little something is better than nothing. Call one representative once. That is more than nothing. Find a candidate who wants to change things in the way that align with what you see making anything better. Get them $5. It's more than nothing. You are not powerless. My cat is an asshole. Now take a lesson from my cat. Go be an asshole to your representative. No, not really. Stating your views politely will likely help more than screaming at them. If someone comes around and screams at you and tells you, why aren't you doing things better? You're not really likely to do something different. So talk to them politely. Say, hey, there's horrible stuff happening. I don't agree with it. And I only want to support a political candidate who will take some action to stop this violence being committed by ICE. What are you doing to stop that? It's more than nothing. You don't have to do everything. But I beg you, find something that you're willing to do. And do that something.